Hey, Pretty Girl Club. So, I want to talk to you about the soft life mindset because I see a lot of people talking about the soft life and they seem to center it around a rich man picking them. And I'm not saying that you can't have that, I'm not saying that that's impossible, but I do believe that the soft life actually is more of an emotion that these women are trying to attain. So, when I think of the soft life, I think of myself being carefree. I think of me having high self esteem and confidence. I think of having peace. One thing that people seem to forget is that peace is happiness. And so I just want to go through a couple of the nuances of the soft life, and hopefully you can begin to attain this soft life mindset for yourself. So, the first thing that led me to living a soft life was realizing that everything that I've been chasing after in life is really based on an emotion. Why do you want money? Well, you want money so you can feel financial security. You want money so you can feel more free. You want money so you can feel more powerful. And so I learned that, like, if I am able to somehow cultivate those emotions in my everyday life, that's going to make me have a lot less weight on my shoulders because I'm not attaching the feeling just to the money itself. I'm learning how to get that feeling regardless of whether or not I have the money, regardless of whether or not I have the man. And one thing that I've noticed is that when it comes to decentering men, the reason I talk about that on this channel, it's not so I can like try to bash men or so we can hate men. I'm not trying to convince people to like turn gay or anything like that. But the reason that I talk about that is because a lot of women's insecurities actually stem from being male-centered. So for example, I started this channel by talking about things like colorism, texturism, and featureism. Well, all three of those things were created by men. Racism was created by men. White supremacy was created by men. Capitalism was created by men. And so once I started to break down all of the internalized misogyny I had, once I started to kind of unpack all of the male-centered ways of thinking that I had, that actually helped to solve so many insecurities about my physical appearance, about my body type, about my socioeconomic status, because once I took men's opinions off the pedestal, I no longer cared about, whether I was working a high-paying job or not. I no longer cared as much about meeting all of these invisible standards that were really placed on me by random men who just wanted to become richer or, they wanted to feel powerful. And so they created these things like marriage or Hollywood beauty standards or capitalism so that they could amass power. Once I started to unpack all of those internalized misogynistic like talking points and how much I was kind of overvaluing men's opinions and devaluing my own opinion, that actually helped me to solve so many random insecurities that I didn't even know were male-centered. For example, one of the reasons that I used to care a lot about my career, it wasn't really just based on money, because I have worked very prestigious careers where the money was not that great, but the title was very impressive. And I remember working, doing stuff like reporting, journalism, or accounting, and I remember thinking, wow, this job is going to be really impressive when I introduce myself to new people. And in my mind, when I imagined myself introducing myself to new people, I always imagined myself introducing myself to men. So whether it was men in a professional setting or men in like some sort of dating setting or some sort of social setting. So I didn't realize that even my career goals were somewhat male-centered because I wanted to get kind of these girl boss roles at work because it would help me to come off as like more impressive towards men. And I didn't realize that I was doing that. It was totally on a subconscious level. But once I began to unpack all of my desires and how many of them were tied to random men's approval, men who didn't even deserve to be on these pedestals, like a random guy at a job where he may or may not even hire me, or random guys that I would meet on the street that I will probably never see again. So once I started to realize that a lot of those desires were male-centered and I started to unpack where those desires came from, it really helped me to get rid of a lot of insecurities. And it's about more than just physical appearance. But when you hear me talk about colorism, texturism, and featureism on this channel, the first thing that I believe that somebody can do to start overcoming those things is to go on a decentering men journey, because I can 100% guarantee you that your insecurities about your physical appearance have something to do with men or the male gaze. And so the smaller you make men's opinions in your mind, the smaller those insecurities will become. And that is actually a major part of how I began living the soft life, because I associate the soft life with having no worries. And so once those insecurities started to kind of fade away, I naturally became more creative. My mind was no longer cluttered with all of those random thoughts. And another thing that I want to mention too, when it comes to men in particular, is that a lot of women, they want to interact with men because men make them feel seen. You know, men make you feel seen. They make you feel heard. They make you feel validated. Men make you feel visible. So I understand why so many women have such a strong desire to be seen. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Men also have the ability to make you feel excited and flirty and sexy and all of those things. But the way that I attained a softer life in that area was to have different sources of attention. So you know how they talk about diversifying your income, having multiple streams of income? On this channel, I talk a lot about micro validation. And so one of the things that I learned how to do was I learned how to receive different streams of micro validation. Okay, so I learned how to have different streams of social income, different streams of attention. And so for some women, interacting with men, that's the only time that they get attention. They don't get attention for their career. They don't get attention in their everyday life. They don't get attention from their family. They didn't get attention from their father when they were a kid. And so for them, men are the only way that they do receive that attention. And one of the ways that I learned how to live a softer life was to create multiple streams of validation for myself so that even if one of those things goes away, I don't feel like I'm validation starved. Because when I use the term validation starved, I just kind of made that up. That's the best way I can describe it. Validation starved, love sick, attention hungry, touch starved, those types of things. Femcel, incel, feeling invisible. All of those insecurities come from not having multiple streams of attention or multiple streams of micro validation. And so the way that I was able to satisfy that part of myself and have more of a soft life mindset was via things like pretty privilege. So I like to utilize pretty privilege as a form of gaining visibility. So for me, it's less about the male gaze. I will say that, yeah, that's a part of it. That's kind of a side effect of it. But that's actually not the main way that I try to get the male gaze, because I kind of feel like men will kind of look at anything. But pretty privilege is a way that you can gain visibility. And when I say visibility, for example, I told this story in the Discord about how I went on a walk the other day at my favorite trail. So I was walking up this mountain/hill thing, and there was this other girl that was walking on the trail, and I was dressed cute. I was wearing this pink hoodie, and it was a really cute little outfit. I had a little vest on, you know, those running vests that you put on. So I had one of those on, and she complimented my outfit. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then we started talking, and then we basically became friends. And we got each other's numbers. We're going to hang out one of these days. So pretty privilege is not supposed to be something that you only utilize for the male gaze. I like to use pretty privilege as a form of always gaining micro validation. So it's kind of like residual income, but it's residual attention. It's residual validation. So not only am I able to attract a guy if I wanted to, but I also am more visible for things like friendships, or maybe you want to be visible for job opportunities. I used to do this all the time when I was younger because I wanted to be taken more seriously in the workplace. I would dress very professional, and I would utilize quote unquote pretty privilege by wearing very nice suits, nice shoes, having my hair and makeup very neat and professional looking. And it helped me to gain visibility and attention towards myself in a way that could help my career. So when I talk about the soft life mindset, I believe that the soft life is all about having not just diverse streams of income, but having diverse streams of validation. This channel supports dark femininity, so I don't care about if people think, oh, you're just trying to get validation. I don't care what you think of that, because getting and receiving validation, that's a totally normal human experience. It's a normal human desire to want to be validated. I hope that if you have friends and family members that you are validating them in a positive way and showing appreciation towards them. Validation really just means appreciation. It means people are giving you positive attention. They're giving you hopefully positive, wholesome attention, and they're appreciating your presence. They appreciate your talents or your contribution. That is all a form of validation. And so diversifying my streams of validation really helped me to live a softer life because let's say I'm single. Like for a lot of women, they will be with a guy and then they go through a breakup and then they feel invisible because no guys are looking at them. If you look at a lot of the colorism, texturism, and featureism YouTube videos and the women complaining about it, their main complaint is that they feel invisible to men. And that's because men have the power to make them feel invisible. It's because they're not visible anywhere else. That's the only place where they feel like they have a shot at being visible is with men. These women have not started their own businesses. They haven't created YouTube channels. They haven't, done anything in their communities. Maybe they haven't made a difference anywhere. Maybe they are not visible in their own family or in their own neighborhood or their city and hometowns. They're not visible there. And so they feel like the only way that they can feel visible is with a man. But the way that I live a softer life is by diversifying my visibility. I actually like to diversify my visibility so much so to the point where I will create an entire faceless YouTube channel so that I have visibility, but not for my beauty, because I understand that there's always a risk of losing your beauty. People can get into accidents. They can certain things could happen. You could have a bad plastic surgery. I mean, so many things could happen. And so for me, I like to build my visibility, not just with pretty privilege, but also in other areas. I like to receive validation for my intelligence, for my ability to articulate myself. That's an area where I enjoy receiving the validation. And so even if nobody in real life validates me for my intelligence, I still don't feel empty or anything like that because I'm receiving that validation elsewhere. And so I want to do an exercise with you really quick. Where do you like to receive validation? What is your favorite thing to be validated about? Do you like it when people compliment your appearance? Do you like being complimented about your talents? Maybe you're good at singing or crochet or fashion design. Do you like being complimented about your core values? Maybe you're a very spiritual person. Maybe you are very knowledgeable about like mental health stuff. Where do you want the most validation? Because for me, I feel like the soft life has to do with having so many streams of validation. And also, you can even diversify your validation even when it comes to men. So for example, some of the girls in the Discord, by the way, be sure to join the Patreon and the Discord if you haven't already. All the Patreon members get access to the Discord. I also do have a YouTube members thing. I am going to be creating some more content on there soon, so be sure to join that if you haven't. But when it comes to something like male attention, you can actually diversify male attention if you want to. So I have some friends in real life so one of them, she likes to just hang out with guys socially. I don't really believe in male-female friendships, so that's not really an option for me. I don't really feel validated by male friendships. But for those of you who do feel validated in that way, that is one stream of male validation. For others, it could be your social media. This is something a lot of men get very jealous of because he can't go on Instagram and post a picture of himself smiling and then have girls commenting on how attractive he is. Women can do that though. So women have so many more lanes for receiving diverse forms of validation. For a lot of men, their only form of female validation is if he has a girlfriend or a wife. But for women, we can receive validation even if we're single. You can receive validation even if you're fat or if you quote unquote hit the wall or if you're a baby mama or whatever crap men try to talk about online. But there are so many different ways to even diversify just male attention. So you can get it on social media if you would like to. Some women will have male friendships. Some women will just go out and about and use their pretty privilege and they like to flirt and kind of have fun at the bar and then they just go home. For other women, they like to experience attention from guys, whether it's on a vacation or, they're just in some sort of social environment. So that's another form of diversifying your validation. So you're not outsourcing all of your validation to one source. You're not hoping to have all of your emotional, mental, sexual, romantic needs fulfilled by some random guy on a dating app who may ghost you tomorrow. You're diversifying that validation. And that's just an example. I just use male validation as an example. But you can begin to do that in other areas of your life. And to me, that is living the soft life. It means I have options. It means I'm carefree. It means that I feel valuable. So for me, one of the areas where I like to receive validation is when it comes to my talents. I feel like for a lot of women, if you have pretty privilege, a lot of people like to discount your talent. They like to make it like you don't have any skills. You only got to where you are because of how you look. So for me personally, I tend to want validation for my talents. And so I like to diversify that validation by creating a YouTube channel. I've actually created multiple YouTube channels in the past. I've done writing before, like writing articles, writing books. For some of you guys, maybe you want to do some freelance writing. Maybe you want to do freelance production and videography and photography. Maybe you want to show off your makeup skills on your face. So it's about more than just being pretty. It's about showing off your makeup artistry. It's about expressing your creativity. That is a form of diversifying your validation, because your creative skills are being validated by people seeing your makeup, by them seeing how you did your nail art design. They get to see the outfit you put together. They get to see how you organized everything at that meeting that you had in the office. People are seeing the way that you organize your home. So that's what I mean when I say diversifying validation. It means that you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. You have many different sources of validation, and all of those things contribute to you feeling like you have the soft life. Because a lot of people use the term soft life and they're not explaining what it means. It's just kind of like this gimmicky term. And thankfully, my strength is explaining things. Sometimes I make up words when I'm explaining stuff. But the way that I like to see it, and I'll ask you this question: what does the soft life mean to you? How would you feel if you were living the soft life? Would you feel carefree? Would you feel more powerful? And then, why would you feel powerful? Why would you feel carefree? Is it because a man's paying your bills? Is it because you are rich and you have your own business? Is it because you didn't need anyone else's help to give you the soft life? I've noticed that that is a big point of power for me. It does make me feel powerful to know that a man cannot take away my financial stability. That does make me feel powerful. It makes me feel powerful to know that a man cannot determine whether or not I eat. Because for some women who don't have any money, like if that man gets mad, he might not pay for her dinner, or, she can't eat now. And especially for the women who are living in underprivileged areas, or maybe you're like poor, basically, for those women, they may not feel that sense of power. And also, I like to utilize my pretty privilege. Like, pretty privilege is a way that I get to practice my power, because I've noticed that I enjoy having a sense of power. And instead of me trying to have power over others, I've learned how to have self-power. And so the pretty privilege part for me, it's not just about being pretty in the eyes of others. It's about taking power over my own beauty, taking power over my own body, and deciding for myself, how do I want to look? I don't care what anybody else thinks. This is my body. I get to wear it however I want. So what makeup do I want to do? I don't care what others want me to do. What hair texture do I want to have? I don't care what other people think about my hair texture, or, if it's Afrocentric enough, if I'm following Eurocentric people. No, I have power over my own body. So even when it comes to feeling that sense of power, because I associate the soft life with me having power and having options, that's actually a form of me exercising my power. It's validating the fact that, hey, I do have power in my own life. I can control what kind of makeup I wear. I get to have power over my financial decisions. That's another way I like having power. And I also like to plan out my life. I enjoy every minute of it. Like when it comes to planning, I enjoy planning out my week. I enjoy planning out my content and like being creative with it. And, I enjoy having the power over my own YouTube channel and being able to block people if I want to. It's not like in real life. You can't really block someone in real life. Well, I guess you can like get a restraining order, but I like having the power of being able to share my voice with the world and talk about the things that are important to me. And then people actually end up listening. That makes me feel even more powerful. So that's what I mean when I say diversifying your validation. This is all about like finding ways to validate yourself. So for some of those ways, you may need other people to be involved. Like, for example, if I had 0 views and 0 subscribers, then I guess I probably wouldn't feel powerful. But I can take power over my own body. So that's another reason why I like to go to the gym and stuff, because that is a way of validating my power that I have over myself and over my own body. So I don't feel the need to exercise power over another person because I've already got plenty of other sources of feeling powerful in my life. Have you ever noticed how a lot of men are actually very bad at this? They're not very good at finding ways to validate their own power. And so they will get into relationships with women and then they will try to exercise power over her. I have actually noticed the same pattern in some women who feel powerless in life, and so they seek to have children because that's the one place where she feels power. Because she's the mom and she gets to have power over those children. She gets to have power over her son and over her daughters. She gets to tell them what to do. She gets to tell them to get her the remote. And so that's one of the, I would say, less healthy ways that people try to gain power. I've noticed some people will try to get power in the workplace. You know, those people at jobs that are like power tripping. This is because those people, they don't have multiple sources of power in their life. They don't have multiple streams of income. They don't have micro validations when it comes to power. Outside of that office, they're powerless. Outside of that office, they're nobody. Outside of her being your toxic mother, she's nobody in society, or at least she feels like she's nobody. This is why you've got those toxic moms, you've got toxic fathers, you have like toxic boyfriends who try to dominate and control you, or people who try to dominate you in the workplace. This is because they don't have any other sources of power. They don't know how to take power over themselves. They don't know any areas where they make a good leader, like they don't have leadership skills and stuff like that because they haven't had a chance to cultivate it. They haven't invested in themselves enough in order to build a sense of power. So they don't have, like, they're not validated in that area. They're power starved. And so they're going to hold on really tight to whatever power they can get a hold of. And so a part of the soft life for me is really being introspective and thinking to myself, okay, I associate the soft life with having a sense of power and kind of like status. So what kind of power and status do I want? Is it healthy for me to want that type of power and status? And how can I attain that without actively hurting myself or other people? Because for me, it doesn't make me feel powerful to put other people down. But that's something that I've noticed that some women will do. They feel powerful when they pull up pictures of Ice Spice or some light-skinned women and they call them mediocre. They feel powerful when they pull up pictures of somebody with type 4 hair and say that it looks like fried leave-out. They feel powerful when they call light-skinned black women narcissists because in real life, they are lacking in streams of power. They don't have multiple streams of income or multiple streams of micro-validation when it comes to feeling powerful. And so one of the only times they feel powerful in life is when they come online and call other women ugly or they say that women have hit the wall. And so it's been very important for me to ask myself, okay, if I associate having the soft life with being powerful, how can I find multiple streams of power, multiple sources of power? So for me, it has been working out and exercising because I'm taking power over my own fitness, my diet, because I get to have power and control over what I eat. So if I want to have a perfect diet, then I can. Like, for example, I have started a new habit where I'm only eating salads for lunch. Like from here on out, it's going to be salads for lunch and fruits for snacks because that's gonna like kind of up my fruit and vegetable intake. It seriously makes me feel powerful to know, hey, I just went and spent like $100 on fresh fruits and vegetables, and I know that I'm gonna eat a damn near perfect diet for the next 3 weeks. That feels powerful. I feel like a bad bitch when I do that. I feel powerful as fuck when I do that. That is a form of micro-validation. That is a stream of income or a stream of power that I already have. So I don't feel power starved in my life. So I don't feel the need to try to go dominate other women. I don't feel the need to try to put down another woman's beauty because I feel like I have taken power over my own beauty. So I don't feel the need to like police another woman's beauty and say, oh, she's mediocre, she's a ramen noodle head ass bitch, or, she's a basic looking light woman. I don't feel the need to say any of those things like how you've seen other content creators say, because I have other sources of power in my life. So what makes you feel powerful? Is it your streams of income? Because for me, that's another way that I can take back my power as well, is by controlling my money, budgeting my money. So no, I'm not going 50-50 with a man. I'm not doing that because I'm not giving up the power over 50% of my lifetime income. So I like having power over my financial future. That is a stream of power for me. I can't do the whole financial codependency thing on a man because that's going to make me feel powerless. I will feel financially powerless if I know that he can take away my lifetime's worth of wealth in an instant. But that's another aspect of the soft life when it comes to mindset. It's about power. So what power moves are you making for yourself? What are the streams of power in your life? Do you like taking power over your career? Because that's another area where I have really taken a lot of risk with, is my career, to the point where even my ex-boyfriend said I was reckless. But do you know how much strength and courage it takes to quit a job as an accountant so you can do things like content creation, make YouTube videos, do a Patreon, have a course? Do you know how much strength it takes to do that? And I went full time on YouTube at only 6,000 subscribers. So that actually takes a lot of self-belief. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of balls to do that. Actually, I shouldn't say balls. It takes a lot of tits to do that, okay? I'm tired of using masculine language to represent power. So instead of saying I had the balls to do this, no, I had the tits to do this. And it makes me feel powerful to know that even if this YouTube fails, even if I'm gone tomorrow, I still took a really big risk and I believed in myself enough to take power over my own career. Every time I've ever switched careers and been successful at that, that makes me feel powerful. So I'm not power starved in my real life. I'm not power starved. Another form that people take on when it comes to power is privilege. Privilege is actually a form of power. So having thin privilege, it could be pretty privilege. You guys have heard of all the different privileges: able-bodied privilege, wealth privilege, education privilege. Those are all forms of power. When people use the word privilege, it's really synonymous with power. Beauty is social power. I've talked about this so many times. Wealth is also another form of social power. And so for me, part of the soft life mindset is about feeling powerful. And so I have found multiple different ways to have different sources of power in my life, like different sources where I feel powerful. So no, I don't have to birth children and try to have power over them because I already have other areas in my life where I feel powerful. So I don't feel the need to take dominance and control over these little humans like how a toxic mother would. I don't feel the need to micromanage people. The micromanagers at work, those people are power starved in real life. They don't have any other forms of power. So that's the only way they can feel powerful is by hovering over you. It's by hovering over what you're doing. It's by nitpicking at what you're doing because they don't do that in real life. In real life, once they step outside of that cubicle, they go back to being powerless. And so it's very important for me. I'm a person who cares about power. I'm an ENTJ, by the way, in terms of personality quizzes. If you're into that, that's my personality type. So I do care about things like power and control, but I've learned how to do it in a way where I'm taking the power over myself and where I have self-control instead of trying to control other people or hoping that I can control a man by emotionally manipulating him. I don't have the energy to do stuff like that. I'd rather just have multiple streams of power, multiple streams of control, mainly things that are revolving around myself. So self-control, controlling what I eat, controlling my own finances, my own money, making plans for my own life and actually sticking to them. The people that write down their New Year's resolutions and then they never do them? I am not one of those people. I am the type of person that will check in with myself every month. And I will say, okay, my New Year's resolution was to go on a weight loss journey. How am I doing with that? I said that I wanted to have perfectly toned legs by the summertime. It is now April when I am recording this. How am I doing with that? I can tell you how I'm doing on my New Year's resolution. So far, I have lost 8 pounds and I have been getting better at lifting. So I am on track to meet my body goals of having perfectly toned legs by the summer because that's my form of taking control. And it helps me to feel like I'm living the soft life because my psychological needs and my emotional needs are being met in many different ways. I am diversifying the ways in which I meet my emotional needs. And so I don't have to hinge everything on a man or hinge it all on my friends or hinge it upon my mom and dad and hoping that they approve of me. I used to be really bad with this. With like seeking approval from mommy and daddy. Well, this is because I was validation starved. And so I was putting all of my eggs in my mommy and dad's basket, hoping that they would approve of my career decisions, that they would validate everything I did, kind of seeking their validation. But once I learned how to diversify my streams of validation, I no longer cared about what my parents thought because I didn't need their validation. I already had my basic validation needs fulfilled utilizing other areas, such as whether it was my job or like this YouTube channel. It's funny because my YouTube comment section is actually my biggest form of validation on this YouTube channel. For some people, like for some content creators, it's about the subscriber count. For other content creators, the view count is validating. But for me, having long comments, like those long paragraph comments where people are like explaining what they learned and stuff, or they're talking about how they feel, that is actually the biggest source of validation for me on this YouTube channel. It's the words of affirmation that I receive when I'm like, when I make the video and then you guys are like, oh, wow, I can relate to this. That is so validating to me. Like to know that I'm not the only person that is thinking these things. I've wanted to say some of these things out loud for so many years now, but like I haven't done it. And I'm so glad that I finally get to do it and people are actually listening. That is awesome to me. So that is a form of validation. That's like a stream of validation for me. And actually the goal of this YouTube channel is to give you validation. That's actually why I created this channel. It was so I could validate light-skinned Black women. It was so I could validate multiracial Black women or Black women who look mixed. So maybe you're benefiting from isms, colorism, texturism, and featureism, and then everybody blames all of the successes in your life on those things. So I actually created this channel so I could give you validation in hopes that it would somehow validate me. And it turns out it worked. But that is a part of the soft life mindset. That's a part of feeling soft for me. What makes me feel like I have the soft life is knowing that I have multiple streams of validation, multiple sources of power, multiple streams of income. Think about why you value celebrities. Think about why celebrities are put on a pedestal. It's because we associate them with living a soft life, or at least living a softer life than what we are living. Why do we do that? Well, because celebrities are living their dreams. Well, I would hope for the most part that a lot of them are living their dreams of, becoming a singer or becoming a pop star or being an actress. And that makes you feel like you're living the soft life, or at least for me, if I'm living my dreams, yes, I definitely feel like I'm living the soft life. And the same thing goes for living my dreams. I have found multiple ways to diversify fulfilling my dreams. You know how some people are like, my ultimate dream is to move to the US, or my dream is to get married. I actually don't believe that any human being only has one dream. I believe that people have many different dreams. Like you could have a dream of being an engineer, but you also have a dream of going to Mexico. So I've learned how to fulfill my dreams, like fulfill multiple dreams at a time, like work on fulfilling as many dreams as I can, whether they are big dreams or very small, easy dreams to fulfill. And that actually helps me to diversify my streams of income in terms of dreams. I am receiving micro validation of my dreams. I used to be the type of person that would put all of my eggs in one basket. I would be like, okay, this is my dream college. If I don't get into this dream college, then I'm going to be sad because it means that I can never fulfill that dream. Thankfully, I did actually get into my dream college, but now I've learned to dream bigger and to create more dreams so that I have many dreams that I'm fulfilling at any given time. So that way, if one of them doesn't work out, for example, let's say you dreamed about getting married, but then all the guys you meet are a-holes. Well, guess what? Find some other dreams, and then you won't be so sad about not fulfilling that one. The women who are the most sad about not getting married, those are the women who they didn't have any other like relationship goals. They didn't have any other relationship dreams. They didn't have any other dreams that they could have fulfilled outside of the marriage. So they were kind of putting all of their fulfillment just in that one basket of marriage. Whereas the women who have many different ways of finding fulfillment and living the soft life, they can live the soft life 150 different ways. They do better because they have many different ways that they can succeed. Whereas the other girl who only wanted the marriage and that was the only way, well, now she failed and now she's not going to be happy because she doesn't have any other ways of fulfilling her dreams. So the way that I like to figure out what all of my dreams are so that I can live a soft life is I will ask myself, what would my childhood self want to be doing right now? Okay, she would see that it's a sunny day and she would want to go outside and be around some flowers. Okay, well, how can I do that now in my 30s? Well, I can go on a walk on a trail. So that is fulfilling a dream. Even though it's small, it's not small to me because it's something that I really wanted really bad when I was a kid. I used to want to play outside. I wasn't allowed to go to sleepovers and stuff at my friend's house. I wasn't allowed to really go out a lot. And so one of my dreams as a child was to be free, to be able to travel wherever I wanted all over the world, to be able to get out of the suburb that I lived in and to just wander around without worrying about whether I'm safe or not, or like whether I can hang out with this type of family or that type of family. I've always wanted to wander. I've always had kind of like this wanderlust since I was a little girl. So I realized that that was one of my dreams. And so I associate wanderlust with the soft life because the soft life means I get to live my dreams, no matter how big they are or how small they are. And so one of the ways that I can fulfill that on a daily basis is by going on walks, going to botanical gardens, going to the nearest park, exploring all of the new parks, buying myself flowers from Trader Joe's. I've noticed that for some girls, they look to relationships to fulfill some of their smaller dreams, such as receiving flowers, or at least that's what I used to do. So I'm speaking for myself. That used to be one of the things that I wanted from guys was flowers. And I was able to take back my power by getting myself flowers. So even if I'm single, like whether I'm with a guy or not, I am still receiving flowers on a bi-weekly basis. I'm not putting that in the hands of a man, hoping that some man will just buy me flowers every other week and then being sad if he doesn't buy me flowers. No, I have learned how to fulfill as many of my dreams as I possibly can, no matter how big or small they are. So that way, let's say one of those things doesn't work out, I didn't really lose much because I had 10 different dreams that I just fulfilled within the last month. For those of you who saw my video about beauty hobbies, and be sure to check that one out if you haven't already, having beauty hobbies, that was one of my dreams as a little girl. I grew up in a very devout Christian home. I was not allowed to wear makeup. I wasn't allowed to wear a bunch of like extensions and paint my nails red and wear red lipstick. I wasn't allowed to do that. So one of my dreams when I was young was to be able to do as many beauty hobbies as I wanted to. So wear as much makeup as I wanted to, paint my nails whatever color I wanted to. I didn't have to ban the color red like how I did when I was a kid. Like I could wear my hair how I wanted to. That has always been one of my dreams. So the reason that I made that video about beauty hobbies, it's about more than just being beautiful in the eyes of men. It's about more than just having pretty privilege. It's about showing yourself that you are valuable enough and you are pretty enough for your nails to be painted red. I am painting my nails red because my nails are pretty. Yes, that's how much I care about the small details of myself. I value something as small as my nail enough to the point where I want to make it a sparkly red color. So it's about more than just pretty privilege and kind of shallow stuff. This is about fulfilling deep-seated emotional needs. It's about satisfying your psychological needs. It's about taking things out of your subconscious mind and kind of bringing them to the forefront and fulfilling the dreams that you might have had when you were a child. I've talked a little bit about reparenting yourself. That's the best phrase I can use to describe it. So maybe you didn't have a mother nurturing you. Maybe you didn't have a father protecting and providing for you. And so in your adulthood, you can begin to practice those things for yourself. So having beauty hobbies, that is one of my ways of reparenting myself. That's one of my ways of nurturing myself because when I was a child, that part of me was not nurtured. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not throwing shade at my parents or anything, because they were trying to teach me to like value other things other than beauty. So I understand why they were doing that. But now that I'm an adult, I get to choose what parts of myself I want to nurture. And so when it comes to my inner child, or like who I was as a 12-year-old girl, that's a part of myself that I want to fulfill right now. I want to fulfill the dreams that I had as a 12-year-old girl. And part of those dreams were being able to wear makeup, being able to make my own facials, make my own hair masks. And so that's why having beauty hobbies is associated with the soft life for me. Something else that I associate the soft life with is luxury. And so I've noticed that I used to have a very closed-minded idea of what luxury meant. I used to think that luxury only meant designer bags and like, super expensive shoes. But I've learned that deep down inside, there are other things that I view as a form of luxury. Time is a luxury. Having my peace is a luxury. I literally did not realize that until I got into bad relationships in the past or toxic friendships. That was when I realized, wait a minute, me having peace and like not having anyone to argue with, not worrying about friends gossiping about me or like who's beefing with who, and not having to worry about that stuff, having my peace, that is such a luxury. Being able to live by myself is a luxury. I never realized that it was a luxury until I was in my early 20s living with roommates. That was when I realized that I associate living alone with luxury. That is a form of the soft life for me. It's being able to live how I want, be as clean as I want or as messy as I want, do the dishes whenever I want to, and not having anybody else tell me what to do. That's a form of luxury. That is the soft life for me. So when it comes to the soft life, I want you to ask yourself, when was the softest part of my life? Was it when I was a teenager? Was it when I was in college? Was it in my early 20s? And why? When was I the happiest in my life? And why was I so happy? Was it because I was in shape? Was I doing more self-care? Did I have friends? Was I in a healthy relationship? What were the happiest times of my life? Is the happiest part of my life right now? Is the softest part of my life right now? If so, then why? Asking yourself those questions will help you to understand what the soft life means to you and what type of mindset you need to be able to attain the soft life. And then once you ask yourself, like, okay, what was the happiest part of my life? You can then ask yourself, okay, how can I make my life happy in multiple different ways? Not just in one way. So I don't want to just be like, oh, I can only be happy if I get that promotion. No, what are like 100 different ways that I can live the soft life starting today, right now? Because one thing that I don't like is how, as a part of our culture, we almost have this mindset of you constantly have to chase something that you don't yet have. And I don't really like that. I like being able to enjoy my life today instead of, oh, I'm just, holding out. Hopefully some Prince Charming will come out of the sky and he'll make my life soft. Oh, hopefully one day some friends will just walk up to me randomly at a coffee shop and then I'll have all these great friendships. No, I learned how to take back my power because, again, for me, power is a part of having the soft life. It's me taking power and control over myself. And then thinking of many different ways that I can live the soft life. So I actually like to call it my soft life routine. So I did my soft life routine today. Recording this video is a part of it because this is my passion. I really enjoy making content. I have so much fun creating content. A lot of people are like, oh, you have such a great work ethic, but it doesn't really feel like work when you like what you're doing. I love shit talking on the internet. I also like going deep into the subconscious mind and kind of like pulling things out and unpacking things because it helps me to become more mentally healthy. It helps me to restore my mind. It helps me to like not think so much about stupid stuff. And I enjoy doing it. So the soft life routine I did today so I'm actually on vacation right now. So that's a part of soft life. So my vacation is actually, I am in my hometown. I'm visiting my extended family right now. I'm going to be hanging out with my brother this weekend. We're probably going to go see some live music or something. This morning I woke up and I'm currently sitting in my mom's office right now and I'm just recording this video. But this morning I woke up, I had my tea. So I like to drink like different herbal teas. That's one of my beauty hobbies. I love to research teas and essential oils and kind of like what it does for your hair, what it does for your skin. So right now I've been into bamboo leaf tea that makes your hair grow a lot. It helped my hair grow more than 1 inch per month. So you guys know that one of my beauty goals is I'm growing my hair out for the summer. But a part of my soft life routine for today was just hanging out, being on my vacation, hanging out with my family. I did a nice walk today for about an hour. I tried this new herbal tea. It's like this lavender blueberry pea flower tea. I don't know if you guys have heard of like the butterfly pea flower, but it's really good for like balancing hormones. It speeds up your metabolism. For those of you who are into Ayurveda, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Ayurveda, like Ayurvedic oils and stuff like that. I am into that kind of stuff. I use the hair care methods of Ayurveda on my hair. Anyway, butterfly pea tea, it's really good for like reducing stress and anxiety. So that's a part of my soft life routine. It's researching stuff for my health. It's like basically focusing on making myself as mentally healthy as possible. The soft life for me means avoiding cognitive dissonance because cognitive dissonance actually, in my opinion, I have nothing to back this up, but in my opinion, cognitive dissonance is actually the root cause of a lot of different mental illnesses like depression, or at least for me. So cognitive dissonance is when you say one thing, but then you act differently, or, you're not true to yourself. You're not living your life authentically. You are kind of putting on a facade or putting on a mask, whether it's in a relationship or at your job or just in everyday life. And so cognitive dissonance, that makes my self-esteem go down. So for me, the soft life means I'm doing the exact opposite. It means I'm being as authentic as possible. It means I get to really focus on myself. I get to do way more self-care stuff. So yes, I feel like I'm living the soft life when I get to spend 20 minutes looking up what types of beauty stuff I want to try, what types of different tea and herbs I want to try so I can grow my hair out. That makes me feel like I'm living the soft life. When I wake up in the morning and drink my coffee and sit outside in nature, or when I take out my journal and I start kind of doing these bullet points of like what my goals are for myself, that makes me feel like I'm living the soft life because my mindset is soft. The thoughts I'm thinking are soft. I'm not thinking these hard knock life thoughts. I don't have all of these mental illnesses from like PTSD and, hypervigilance and all that. Like I'm scared. I'm looking over my shoulder 24/7 because I live in a horrible area. I'm not doing all of that. I'm carefree. Like it makes me feel carefree to be able to focus on luxury instead of focusing on how bad everything is and how I'm always a victim. That's why on this channel, even though we talk about like stuff we go through, I always balance it out with soft life content or, thinking about leveling up because I enjoy thinking about that, especially when I'm working out or when I'm actually doing things that are helping me level up. It just makes me even more motivated. I love like saving all of you guys' videos. By the way, if you're an Exotical content creator, please comment down below. Because I love saving all of the Exotical content for when I'm doing my walks and when I'm like drinking my tea and being productive and stuff, because it makes me feel so much more motivated to know that there are other girls out there that are doing the same things as me. The soft life is about me being intentional with my time. It's about not having struggle love, not having stress. And when I say struggle love, I'm not just talking about romantic love. I'm also talking about struggle love within your family. Maybe you have a toxic mom, a toxic father, toxic siblings. So it means not having struggle love, not having toxic friendships and all these like crazy arguments around me. It means that I don't have stress. So I don't have the stress of a job because maybe I work for myself or I'm living off of my investments and stuff. I also associate the soft life with having mental clarity. So I've noticed that the main things that end up cluttering my mind tend to be things like maybe insecurity. So when I say insecurity, I'm not just talking about physical insecurities. I'm talking about like it could be financial insecurity, relationship insecurity. So once I remove the triggers and once I remove those insecurities, my mind is so much more clear. A lot of people are like, oh, how are you so creative? How do you keep coming up with content? It's because I'm intentional and I make sure that I keep my mind clear. So I try to block anybody that's bringing kind of like negative energy into my life, I will block them in my phone, or like I won't be friends with them anymore, because it really does clog up my mind when I'm thinking thoughts like, oh, is Brittany mad at me? Like, why didn't she text me back? Oh my gosh, is she being a fake friend? Is she gossiping about me? All those types of thoughts, they don't serve me. They don't help me. They don't help me level up. They don't make me more confident. It's literally a waste of my intelligence. And so whenever I have a clear mind, I can focus all of my intelligence on creating this one YouTube video. I get to focus all of my intelligence on building up my career, or creating some sort of health plan for myself, creating a fitness plan for myself. The soft life means that I get to take my time on things. So I'm not constantly rushing. Those people that are living this life where they're always running out of time. So I kind of think of like overworked moms and stuff like that. I know that not all moms are overworked. If anything, I think if you're a mom, you should really be going after the soft life, because that's going to teach your kids to kind of pursue the same thing. But part of the soft life for me is having an abundance of time. So I associate the soft life with abundance, an abundance of time, an abundance of money, an abundance of confidence, an abundance of validation, an abundance of attention. So I don't have to be sad or feel invisible, because I already have an abundance of visibility. I have an abundance of attention. I can get attention in many different ways. I don't have to put anybody else down to get attention. I don't have to be desperate for a guy to get attention. So I associate the soft life with having abundance in every area, including the non-tangibles. In my opinion, the non-tangibles are more important than the tangibles. I also associate the soft life with contribution, like being able to contribute something positive to this world. Hopefully, this YouTube channel helps women to kind of take back their own power and put themselves back on the pedestal. This channel genuinely is not supposed to be about putting down others. It's supposed to be about keeping yourself on a pedestal, no matter what type of pedestal that is for yourself. It's about not letting other people knock you off your square. And so the soft life for me has to do with me helping others, like me contributing to this world in a positive way, being a part of something that's bigger than just myself, thinking about like how I can live a legacy, how I can change the world. I really do believe that I am changing the world with this YouTube channel, because even if I'm not here, if somebody else picks up on this message and then they continue it, then I have achieved my goal. Even if only one or two people keep on talking about this, I still feel like I have changed the world, because we are creating a ripple effect by talking about these things. That is the soft life to me. It's knowing that people are listening to this while they're walking or while they're at work, and I'm making their workday better. I'm making the mundane tasks kind of go by faster and be more enjoyable. I consider that to be my version of changing the world. I've noticed that a lot of people, they associate the soft life with something that's like really big and really grandiose. And it can be. I do believe that there's a such thing as leveling up within the soft life. So yeah, going from millionaire to billionaire, yes, that is technically a level up. But I also feel like when you have dreams, they don't always have to be so grandiose. Your dream could simply be, I want to buy a Christmas tree this year, or I want to buy flowers for myself every week. I only want to do my shopping at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. Your dream doesn't have to be something that's really big. My theory on having like a purpose, I actually don't believe that a certain person gives you a purpose. I kind of believe that your purpose is whatever you choose for it to be and whatever you make it. And your purpose is like what you enjoy and what you choose to be consistent at. A lot of people, they have an external locus of control, so they feel like their life is being controlled by an outside entity, whether it is a god or a boss at a job, or like white people, I don't know, rich people, the president, the government. But I like to have more of an internal locus of control, because that works better for me. Once I started to take back my own power and protect and provide for myself, nurture myself, care for myself, instead of externally expecting others to do that, that really helped me to live a softer life, because I know that I am going to always have my own back. So it helps me to not be scared of the future. You know how some women are like, oh, I don't want to get older, or they're like afraid of aging. I am not afraid of aging. I actually embrace aging. I can't wait until I'm older. I am currently 32 and a half years old. I can actually, no, I'm not 32 and a half yet. In 1 month, I will be 32 and a half years old. I'll be 33 in November. I can't wait because I know that I have my own back. So no, I'm not going to age badly because I have already planned my self-care routine. I am taking care of myself, like physically, financially. I've noticed that the people who are kind of afraid of the future, usually they have more of an external locus of control. So they feel like my job might fire me, or I might get laid off, or he might leave me, he might cheat on me. So they're focusing their happiness and they're hinging their future. They're putting it in the hands of somebody else. And so for me, since I have taken my future back and put it in my own hands, I am no longer afraid of the future. So when I'm 50 years old, I'm going to look good. You know why? Because I'm going to make sure of it. And then for the people who are like, oh, what if you become like in a wheelchair or you have a walker? Then guess what? I'm going to be the finest thing walking with my walker. And I'm going to make my walker pink and I'm going to make it like super cute and put like the little tennis balls at the bottom. And then I'm going to look cute in my little walker. And I will be walking on a trail with a walker. I'm not going to let any person or any like ability stop me from living my best life. I don't like when people start taking on too much of a victim mindset because the thing is, there are people of all races, of all skin tones, of all socioeconomic statuses, of all abilities living their own version of the soft life. So I don't like the whole talking point of the soft life is a monolith. No, the soft life is not a monolith. There are many different ways to live the soft life. I believe it's going to be unique to you. For some people, they do want to be billionaires or they want to be a trad wife or whatever. And for other people, living the soft life means immigrating to the United States. It means graduating from college. It means getting a stable job. It means taking care of their family. And that is okay. I really think that the soft life is more of a mindset, or at least that's what I've learned for myself, because I feel softer right now, being a content creator full time, living where I live right now, as opposed to before when I was technically making more money, but I was way less happy. You know, I was in like a 50-50 type of marriage at the time, or at least that's the phase I was in my relationship at the time. So I'm actually happier and I feel softer now because I've realized that soft life is actually a mindset. But what does the soft life mean to you? When was the softest part of your life? Was it when you were younger? Is it right now? When were you the happiest in your life and why were you so happy? What makes you the happiest? How can you incorporate those things into your daily life? What are some of the big things that make you happy? And then what are some of the little things that make you happy every single day? Is it snuggling up in a soft blanket? Is it having your teddy bear on your bed? Is it a cup of warm tea on a rainy day? Because those are the moments that really make you feel like you're living the soft life. What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.